What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. In this video, we're going to be talking about spears, making a spear, and then throwing that spear. Stick around. I just wanted to take a moment to greet everyone and say what's up to all of my subscribers and all of the new visitors as well. Welcome to 411 Outdoors. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Now let's get started. I'm starting to get more and more away from using terms like ancient weapons because I have referenced that a lot throughout my channel and my exploration of different things. But the truth is, many of these ancient weapons are still effective, useful, and needed today. A spear is very much one of those. As far back as we can go, a spear has been a very predominant and useful tool in the area of survival and in war. If I was in a survival situation, or if I had to travel a great distance on foot, a spear is very much something I would like to have. It can just be used for so many things. Fishing, keeping an animal at bay, defending. It's really a great thing to have. I can't help but wonder about how many people would have survived animal attacks if they'd have simply had a spear. You know, one of the first videos I ever put out on my YouTube channel when I started this up back in the spring was a video on how to make a survival spear, how to have the basics of how to make a survival spear and what to do. Started wanting a little bit more of an upgraded spear. Back in the summer, I had bought a machete that came with a little knife. Some of you may remember my Camillus machete review that I did, talking about all of the machetes that were at Walmart and why I bought the one that I did. It came with a little knife. It comes with a little side knife that fits down in a little slot, and it can be used as a mini spear. It can also be used to do trimming and get into those out of reach places. I looked at it and said, you know what, I think that would make a pretty cool spear tip. So I finagled, took a stick, and was able to get that piece wedged down in there and get it secured pretty tightly. And it just couldn't handle the test battery that I put it through. It just breaks and bends and it doesn't stay straight. And I was like, yeah, this was a waste of time. So I have decided as of late to step up my game in putting together what I believe to be a solid and real spear. After searching around and looking online for the most cost-effective option, I saw a lot of different things. I saw some really cool attachments from cold steel, some stuff that was well done and put together, but I wanted to spend the minimum amount of money because I'm not looking for a fancy spear that I can do a lot of slicing with, and I don't need the sharpest spear. I just want a sharp tip. I want to be able to puncture through things. I want to be able to throw a spear. So here's what I came up with. The first thing that I needed was a handle. I bought this handle here from Home Depot, and I like it because it's already kind of tapered off at the end. The second thing I did was went out to Amazon and spent $22 on an Armory Replicas hand-forged spearhead. Next question is, how are we going to attach the spearhead to this handle? I looked at a few options. I saw people screwing these things on, attaching them that way. But then I saw something that I thought looked a little bit easier that I want to try first, and that is to break out the liquid nails to attach that spearhead to the end of this handle. So just right off the bat, let's just see how this thing's going to fit. Okay, it's not on there as far as I would like. What I'm going to do is take a knife and just shave this down just a little bit so we can get it on there as far as possible. That's already looking good. All right, let me catch you up on what I've been doing here. I've been carving the end of this thing down a little bit. One of the things I did, I probably started a little bit too low, but I'm not too worried about that. That gives me a little bit of screw-on room. I've had to steadily continue to thin out this top part here because what I'm wanting is for this thing to be able to stick on here pretty securely. Like right there, that feels pretty tight. I could almost use this, kind of in a soft sort of manner. I could probably spear a fish just by sliding this on. It's got just enough tension on here. But see, what I'm going to do is put some liquid nails in here, and I think this is sliding on here tight enough to where, it's kind of hard to pull off. You got to give it some tension. So I think we're going to go with this. You don't want to, obviously, you don't want to carve this down too much. You want it to be able to go on there and you want to be able to kind of force it up in there a little bit. So hopefully this will work. So look, I have never used this stuff. I've just got it kind of gooked up on here. So let's shove this spear tip on. All right, I think I've got this thing on here pretty tight. I put my liquid nails in here and I've shoved it up in here and just really bared down on it. And had to wipe off the liquid nails that came out from the bottom. I think this is gonna do well. For me, this is a great length. I'm around 5'10". It works out great being taller than me because you don't ever want to carry a spear that's too short if you're hiking through the woods, because you could trip and impale yourself. So you may want to think about that depending upon how tall you are. If you're really tall, you need to make a really long stick if you want to, walk around with these things, because you don't want to, you never know, you might end up having to run, or, you may be climbing a difficult terrain and you could slip and impale yourself. It happens. So for me, I like this being a little bit taller. So I'm going to let this dry and then we're going to start slinging it. I think I've allowed enough time now for the liquid nails to dry. I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, a good piece of pine like this is a really good throwing target. It's a softer grain. It's really good for throwing. It doesn't tear your blades apart. Like some of my throwing targets, the wood is a lot harder and it beats the knives and the axes and everything else up a lot more. But a good piece of pine like this is a real good soft throwing surface that's got a good balance to it. Now I'm going to be throwing the spear at this, but I'm also going to take some stabs as well. All right, y'all, that was fun, but I got a lot of takeaways for you, and I'm sure this will help somebody. And some of this stuff may have been things that many of you who are experts in the spear field already knew. For me, this was largely an experiment. Okay, let's talk about the good first. I was able to throw this several times and land some really cool throws, and it felt great. I have a decent handle on spear throwing. There's some improvements I'd like to make with speed and distance, obviously, but was able to get it to stick, was able to kind of get it just about where I wanted it. Let's talk about reality, the bad stuff. Okay, if you're gonna make a wooden spear and you're gonna attach something like this for throwing, I don't think it's gonna work. You're probably gonna be better off if you make your own stick. I'm looking at the grain of this, this Home Depot handle, and it's very weak in comparison to a natural. First of all, the liquid nails did not work. Now, if I was just out spearing fish, guys and gals, if I was just spearing fish, or if I was just warding off something, or if I was just using this as a stabbing weapon, I'd have never had any problems. This probably would have done fine. But if you want to battle test anything, I'm just gonna flat out say this. If you want to battle test the structural soundness of anything, throw it. If you want to know if something's tough, whether it's a knife, whether it's an axe, you want to test a product's durability, throw it. Don't beat it on nothing. Don't stab it through anything. Throw it. It's just, throwing will uncover the weakness of just about anything, as it did this. It did not work. And that's okay. We go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna sand this back down and attach this, and this is just gonna be a walking around spear for, light duty. For throwing, I'm probably going to get something from Cold Steel, one of Cold Steel's tips, and that are a little bit longer, and add that to a stick. I think that'll do better if you can get the end of it more strong and full tang. But just wooden spears like this, I could have probably attached this a little bit deeper, but I had it on pretty deep and it still broke. Nevertheless, I had fun. So I'm going back to the drawing board on this. I'm gonna probably get me another spear handle. This does stick and penetrate very well. You can see that the penetration on this was very deep. It was hard to get out. It stuck in deeper than most of my knives, if not all. Now I will share this little hack with you before I go. This is just makeshift and it's a lot of fun. It's low maintenance and it's no big deal. But I have my old spear stick that I had split down the middle to do what I was doing with it. I had the idea to carve this down to where I could shove this on it. Now, if I shove this on it, this naturally spreads out a little bit once it's there. Let me show you this. Now, this is detachable and you can put this on for fun, but you could take something like this, carve it down enough right here, and then watch this. I'm gonna put this in here nice and tight. I mean, it's on there really, really good. It's on there really good. It's in there tight. Yeah, that's good stuff. Now, I can throw this, check it out. So there you go, there you have it. That was fun. It was interesting, interesting test, but I've got to make some adjustments. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.